chains and set us free. Riders on the prairie, wild and free, bows and arrows, cold 45's decree. No more tyranny, no more lies, under open skies we rise. Fight, fight, fight till we reclaim the night. Cowboys and Indians in the blazing light. Fight, fight, fight till the dawn is near. We'll never live in fear. On the blood moon, we all unite. Horse hooves thunder in the night. No longer slaves to the empire's might. Strength in numbers, strength in rise. On the blood moon, we unite. Horse hooves thunder in the night.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Cowboys and Indians podcast. And once again, it is just the Indian. Steve is still out of commission for now. He will be back. But I do appreciate you guys still tuning in. I still plan on doing this show until he makes his return. He says Monday he can come back. So, pray for him, wish him well. He's still not feeling all that great. But he will be back Monday. But other than that, we've had a lot of controversy going on in the world of X and the political world in general. It has been really fascinating to watch and see the reaction from the moralistic right or the organizations of Republicans around the country that want to come out and condemn the leaked chats that came out on Politico, or came out via Politico, because they were able to, within 7 months, acquired like 2,900 pages of text messages between a group of about a dozen millennial and Gen Z young Republicans. Now that's a group. They're not just, they're not nobody. They're actually working towards a better political future. At least that's what they claim. And within these group texts, it sure seems like there has been a fiery couple of examples of, dark humor is what you would call it if you took it in the context of jokes. Now, the way I take it, personally, is that they're jokes. Because out of 2,900 pages, it sure seems like 251 text messages or messages in total, they plucked out of context and plastered for everybody to see to make it look as bad as possible. Now, obviously, you know that Politico is going to try their best to make it look as bad as they possibly can. And some of it, if you just took it as a statement to the public, it would look bad. The problem is out of the 7 months, we don't know what kind of context that these were in. I mean, we know some of the context, which is a group chat between young, disenfranchised men who want to burst their way onto the political scene. And shock content is not really anything new, right? There's banter between young men in a space of a group chat can be heinous. And I know this because I've been part of several group chats, and we constantly dog on each other and make very dark jokes. But it's in the context of bantering back and forth. And sometimes those lines can be crossed. I've had today people say that, equivocating the text messages that Jay Jones sent, fantasizing about him murdering his Republican colleagues and their children, equivocating that to this Politico article and saying these are basically the same. They should both be condemned. They're both bad. It's like, well, not really. Those are very, very different situations. One situation with Jay Jones is where he's confessing a fantasy of some sorts to somebody who didn't want to hear it, who expressly and overtly stated that they didn't want to hear it. and actually seemed worried about the path that Jay Jones was going down in his dark fantasies. And Jay Jones wasn't just making general statements about vague people. I mean, he was talking about his colleagues. He's talking about the people he worked with, real life people, and his fantasies of doing very, very dark things to them. I think that is a very different thing than a group chat of 12 or more young men responding to the political nature of the world and navigating their way through it. The very interesting thing about this, and maybe I'll just pull up the page. We'll pull up the article from Politico itself, because yes, MD James says your co-host, when he bothers to show up, is Army, as I am. Dark humor is where we live. That is how in all reality, any young man or any man knows this. You know exactly what was going on in this group text. And the funny thing about this is, like, the one that they really highlight is "Great, I Love Hitler." Now, if somebody had called Trump Hitler, if this was a response to, like, what the left always claims, Trump is basically Hitler, everybody on the right is a Nazi, blah, blah, blah. It is so easily conceivable that they're playing into that trope within this conversation. And it is so tiresome in all reality. And I think the response from a lot of Republicans and organizations is actually worse than the text messages. All the pearl clutching and the assumption that because this group chat exists, that now we know, we peered into their souls, that all these young Republicans are neo-Nazis, and we, as the proper right, the moralistic right, we must condemn this and separate ourselves from the neo-Nazis. Guess what, guys? 1 month ago, they were calling Charlie Kirk a neo-Nazi as they were dancing on his grave. Yeah, they condemned, some leaders condemned political violence by saying, okay, I don't condone political violence, but Charlie was a fascist. He was a racist. He was saying all these bigot things. And instead of actually condemning it, I mean, this is the entirety of the response to the Charlie Kirk assassination from the left was lackluster at best and at worst celebratory. And then the entire Jay Jones scandal came out, where he's fantasizing about murdering his political opponents, and now all of a sudden Politico has this article with look, oh no, look at these extremely leaked messages expose young Republicans in racist chat. Total hypocrisy on both sides. Okay, Troll says, and 1 month ago, the right was doxing people for their Charlie Kirk opinions. Can you understand the difference between celebrating the physical act of somebody getting assassinated and hypothetically making vague jokes in response to whatever political thing happened that day? Like, these people they're not calling out specific individuals. At least I haven't seen any evidence of them calling out specific people, saying that, wow, I didn't let this watermelon person in because, his skin was too dark, so we didn't hire him. These are vague jokes between a group of people that are all trying to push the limit. It is not in any way, shape, or form the same as celebrating the act of a physical assassination. And remember, it's not the first time that they've celebrated assassination attempts. Hold on, we'll pause on that for a second, because when the CEO Luigi Mangione assassinated that guy, they were making a statue out to this guy. There was a whole movement of people celebrating this fact. that the CEO got assassinated, that he was shot in the back. When they tried to assassinate Trump, there were celebrations of that, and they were upset that, oh, it's just you couldn't just make it that much more to the right. There was people being doxxed for their opinions and jokes. Okay, they're public statements that they put out for everybody to judge. Yeah, they're opinions and jokes on a real life current event that is different than a private private group chat between friends. These statements aren't for the public. So there's that context where they're not filtering it in the same way. They're not doing this as a public statement. And it's not like they have some kind of hidden neo-Nazi personality behind the scenes. They're literally bantering back and forth. Troll, I'm sure that you've said worse in a group chat or in the locker room talk with your boys. There's no way that, this stuff is like, most of it's very basic, and the worst that they could find is stuff like "Great, I Love Hitler." That's the worst that they could find out of thousands and thousands. 7 months of texts. It's not the same. It's not a both sides thing again. This is why Republicans lose, because anytime there is any kind of infraction where the left will obviously not play by our rules, but they will use the perceived moralistic injustice against the Republicans, and they'll try to get every Republican to say that, okay, these people are now definitively neo-Nazis, when 1 month ago they were calling Charlie Kirk a Nazi. And so now they're trying to justify their own shitty behavior by releasing a private chat. It is not the same. This is in no world the same. Yeah, people were being doxxed for their opinions and getting fired for their public statements on an assassination. That's their choice to release that. That's their choice to come out and say, this is my position. This is what I think of the assassination. Ha ha ha. I just really I don't like the pearl clutching that I've been seeing. I really don't. Acting like they've never said anything untoward about other races. Like, I grew up in a small town of white people, right? There's 2,500 people in my town, and it's 99.98% white. I was like one of 3 colored kids that went to my school. There were a lot of racial jokes made on both sides. It's and it was never like a bad faith thing. So I see. I believe that actions will speak louder than words. Now, if they come out and if they show that, okay, this is in the background, this is how they talk, and also it lines up with them, mistreating a Jew because he was Jewish, or mistreating a black guy simply because he's black. It's like, if it lined up with real life actions, then I could see how you could make that connection. But just taking 7 months worth of a group chat and finding 251 one-liners completely out of context, yeah, that I don't care. I literally do not care, because I've seen worse playing Rocket League. People will type stuff out that's worse than this stuff in Rocket League. Or you go into a voice chat on Xbox while you're playing Call of Duty or whatever. You'll hear worse stuff. It's very common. It's incredibly common, especially with younger people, especially when they, like this is it's banter between young men. It's just, that's how they talk. And they couldn't even find one hard R, by the way. If you look at this, William Hendricks, the Kansas Young Republicans vice chair, used the words nigga and nigga, variations of racial slur, more than a dozen times in the chat within 7 months. Not even one hard R in 7 months. Not even one hard R. That's pretty good. The vice chair of the New York State Young Republicans at the time referred to rape as epic. See, the problem is like, I don't know what they're talking about. What are they referring to in any way, shape, or form? It's like, I know how the left will utilize words against you. And like, this statement is probably bad, but I don't know what they're referring to at all. Everyone who votes no is going to the gas chamber, blah, blah, blah. One was referring to an upcoming vote on whether he should be... Oh, they give some context around this one. Everyone that votes no is going to the gas chamber, and everyone that endorsed but then votes for us is going to the gas chamber. See, the very interesting part about this is for the last decade, they've been calling everybody on the right Nazis, fascists, authoritarians, all of this stuff. And they could have read something in the news that was, or had an experience that day where it brought something like this up, and they just put this out there as like a joke. This isn't like a political position that anybody's taking. Like all of this stuff, it's just so frustrating. And then like just the fact that so many people now are definitively saying that these people are neo-Nazis. Like in Insurrection Barbie here, she I don't know too much about her, but she comes out and says, I'm not uniting with neo-Nazis. They are not conservatives. I don't claim these people. If you do, then you are the problem. Okay? She's not referring to neo-Nazis. She's referring to the group chat that everybody now just assumes they're now condemned totally, right? Because of a group chat. And do you guys remember the speech that Joe Biden gave? Saying that MAGA is the greatest threat to our democracy, that anybody that supports it is the greatest threat to our democracy. When we start playing this game of equivocating a group chat in 7 months of leaked messages, if we start equivocating that to what neo-Nazis are, then we're screwed. Because the left doesn't care. The left doesn't give two shits about anything that opposes them are neo-Nazis. Anybody that opposes them. I've been called a Nazi a million times. I've been called a Russian bot. I've been called a race traitor. I've been called Uncle Tonto, that I'm a shill for the colonizers. And like, why would I ever concede to these people? And why should I condemn these guys for bantering back and forth to each other privately? And equating like that's the same thing as the left, the young Democrats, the radical young Democrats actually going out and assassinating Charlie Kirk, while all the other young Democrats are calling him a Nazi and saying that they're glad that he's gone. As if those two are the same thing in any way. They're not. And I won't condemn it. Not for the evidence that I've seen. Not for some guys sharing jokes with each other. Were they dark jokes? Yeah, sure. Is it appropriate? Well, not in the context how Politico displayed it. Definitely not in that context. It's not appropriate. But where it would be appropriate? In a context of a group chat where they all know that they're saying things that aren't serious, right? Like if this was a group chat if you were able to peer into the group chats between Joe Rogan and Shane Gillis and people like Dave Smith, all of them, the actual paid comedians, if you appeared into their group chats, you think that you wouldn't find some dark humor in there? No, there would obviously be dark humor, but they would get a pass because they're paid comedians. So they're allowed to joke. It's like, no, we all are allowed to joke. Yeah, well, they plucked out like a total of 251, but the highlighted ones where it's like great, I love Hitler, and you know the most egregious ones, there was about 20. Other than that, it's like, I mean, if you just said that as a public statement, then yeah, it would be bad. But it's just extremely difficult to try and inspire people to actually stand up for their own, even when something is said, you know, that's not pleasant or that you don't agree with. Because immediately every organization came out, or almost all of the young, you know, Georgia Young Republicans. The Georgia Young Republicans condemn in the strongest possible terms the reprehensible comments and conduct. That's the interesting part, is how they conflate words with actions, right? Actions will always speak louder than words. So what conduct did these guys do? And why are they condemning conduct when comments are the only thing they should be commenting on right now? There wasn't conduct done. I didn't see any conduct of racism. I didn't see anything like that. I had a discussion with a guy earlier today in regards to why I don't take this as seriously. And like the real racism that we've been experiencing in this country isn't a group chat, right? That's not the real racism. The real racism that we've been experiencing are the idea that we're not allowed to get voter ID because black people can't get ID. Like why that's real life racism in practice. That's the Democrats arguing that black people are too stupid to get ID or to find the DMV or to use a damn computer. That's real life racism in practice. But for some reason, that gets a pass while private texts where not even one hard R in 7 months was dropped. But for some reason, now it's conduct too. Now it's comments and conduct from a private chat among certain members of the Young Republicans National Organization that were recently leaked. These comments and actions, what does that mean? Like, what are they referring to? Why are they referring to this as conduct and actions are antithetical to the principles and beliefs of the Republican Party and the Young Republicans? The Republican Party is perfectly fine with passing the Patriot Act and spying on their own people. But no, group chats, that's too far. This is why I don't like I don't like organizations that claim either party. Like Young Republicans, there shouldn't be a Young Republicans party. That just because, like, why are you loyal to just the Republicans? Republicans screwed over this country by getting us into all of the overseas wars. The Bush administration was terrible. I hated George Bush. And there's just, why would you just blindly back Republicans? Look at Mitch McConnell. What has that goof done for us? He's done nothing. Anyways, such hateful rhetoric has no place in our organization. We as Republicans believe that all peoples should be judged on the content of their character, not skin color, ethnicity, or religious affiliation. Okay, then what was the content of their character while these group chats were happening? What was the content of their character? What did they do and not say? Right? I still haven't seen anything about it. Bigotry, hate, and personal attacks, whether spoken in public or in private, violate the principles of respect, character, and leadership that define us as Young Republicans. We stand for the Republican movement built on ideas, integrity, and service, not on division and degradation. We call on every young Republican leader across the country to hold themselves and their peers to the highest standards of decency and discipline worthy of the cause that we serve. What are we supposed to do with that information? What are we supposed to do with racism in practice? Being black is a disability, said by a black woman. Yeah, Ketanji Brown Jackson, basically for some reason equating black people to disabled people. Truck driving cowboy says, brother, I'm an American U.S. Hispanic from Los Angeles. I can't stand the Democrats, but it's highly disappointing that Republicans are so spineless and gutless, which is unacceptable. Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I've been saying that for years. Tyler, what's up, brother? How you doing? It's been a while. Well, I guess you tuned in last time. The crazy thing is that the entirety of the Democrat Party stuck up for Jay Jones in his dark fantasies about murdering his colleagues and their children. And this wasn't like a consensual chat. Like he wasn't in a group chat where they were all joking about it. No, one guy was like, why are you telling me this? Stop telling me this. This is horrifying. But he was like confessing his dark fantasies. And all the Democrats just line up behind him. Like, no, it's totally okay. Politico didn't write a hit piece article about it, saying, "Oh my gosh, look at this abhorrent speech." No, they come out a couple days later to get the heat off his back and show this, and then the Republicans they fall for it, hook, line, and sinker. It's just now time to start condemning our own, and then calling out that anybody who defends this is on the side of neo-Nazis because they made a couple of Hitler jokes. So now half the party is now considered Nazis. It's just so stupid. Unbelievably stupid. I'm going to show you a little video here from Cam Higbee. So Cam Higbee, he's a journalist. He attended that journalist roundtable that in Washington D.C. with Trump and where they were talking about Antifa. But I just wanted to share this video with you to kind of now he's not interviewing a prominent public figure, but this is kind of the gives you the idea of the acceptable speak on the left.
That's what I said. I said, fuck Charlie Kirk.
Why free Tyler Robinson?
Because he a patriot.
Tyler Robinson is a patriot.
I mean, what the fuck you think I'm hiding or something? I done said this shit a million times.
What makes him a patriot?
Because he got rid of a piece of shit.
Okay. And you think that's a good thing to kill people who disagree with you?
I think it's a good thing to take a racist out.
Okay. How do you know he was racist?
Because he a piece of shit. Look at what he said. So if you see a black pilot, then you got to wonder, is he qualified? You a piece of shit, gang?
He just doesn't like
This
DEI.
white still out here racist. He don't like...
Now, this guy probably isn't he's not politically astute. He's not in the circles of the everyday political talk. But by playing into the idea that these kids are neo-Nazis, you are going to inspire more people just like that to believe that there is a significant portion of the right that are actual neo-Nazis, that are actually gaining ground, that they're actually like wanting to put people in gas chambers. That the text leaks were an insight into the soul of the Republican Party. This is what they really want. Now you know that that's fascism. And they'll keep doing that. So you want to keep inspiring more people to absolutely hate any kind of right-leaning person? Then keep playing into this. Because that's what you're going to get. When you continue to play this game, that anytime anybody calls for, or anytime anybody makes a racial joke, that all of a sudden now they're the bad guys and they should be condemned. I mean, look at this. This is Chuck Schumer, okay? On MSNBC, this is one of the highest position. He occupies one of the highest positions you can in the Democrat Party. And he's talking about the Trump regime here. This all goes to the same thing, okay? This is the same party. This is the general rhetoric that they partake in every day. And it's been completely normalized because the news doesn't say that they're not always clutching their pearls.
Department as a political weapon. It is a disgrace, and every American, I don't care if you're Democrat, Republican, liberal, conservative, moderate, people should be forcefully rising up against this, speaking out against it, and
People should be forcefully rising up against it. What do you think that means? When just 1 month ago, Charlie Kirk was assassinated. When 1 year ago, they tried to assassinate Trump. The left assassinated a CEO. Antifa's been burning down cities for a decade. Same thing with BLM. It has been completely normalized to call for political violence. For Chuck Schumer, of all people, to come out and clearly say that people should be forcefully rising up against it. What do you think he's calling for there? Yet somehow that's okay. That's okay to say as a public statement on national television. But no, the private group chats, that's what needs to be condemned. Because, I haven't really seen many people talk about this at all. I haven't seen people going like, hey, he's kind of calling for an insurrection. He's calling for an uprising, a forceful uprising of the people. But no, it's all about the right fighting themselves and deciding that, basically just trying to draw lines and say, okay, who's the neo-Nazi? Who supports who? Oh, I gotta keep myself clean by condemning all of this. No, I've never made a racist joke in my life. I'm a Puritan. That drives me crazy. Their calm down the rhetoric comments only applied to pissed off Republicans after Trump was nearly assassinated. Yep. You're right. Yeah, they'll completely have the back or praise the radical young Democrats, the radical young Antifa types that burn down cities. They'll run cover for it. Or for Jay Jones fantasizing about murdering his political opponents or his political colleagues just because they're Republican. They'll have his back. But no, everybody has to clutch their pearls for this crap. I mean, this is pretty much just take a look. We'll see if we can zoom in on this. Hopefully I can. I can't zoom in on it. I can't zoom in on the picture. Do you guys remember what happened after Charlie Kirk? How much of this we saw? Do Matt Walsh next. Now someone get Matt Walsh next. Do Matt Walsh next. Trump next. Trump next, please. Shia Reichik next. Do Trump next. Charlie Kirk's dead. Yay. Like, all of this. I mean, there's thousands of these. Thousands. It's not like it just appeared out of nowhere. This has been a consistent pattern for the left. They will constantly call for violence and have the back of people who actually do violence while espousing the same kind of rhetoric, fighting against fascism, or like what Tyler Robinson wrote on the bullets, hey fascist catch, right? Or Bella Ciao, the Antifa trope. I mean, it's been constant. So I'm tired of trying to continue to cut ourselves down while the left does things far worse on the daily. Where Chuck Schumer makes a political statement on national news calling for a forceful uprising against the Trump administration and all who support him. 1 month after an assassination. But I'm supposed to condemn our guys because they were in a group chat making jokes to each other. I don't know. I know I don't need to talk about this the entire time, but it is just so tiresome. I do have another funny video here that I clicked off of or got rid of at some point. I don't know when. Nah, okay. I don't have it anymore. I don't remember where I saw it. I clicked on it and I had it. But it was of The View, basically saying that they should have more Republicans on. It's unfortunate that I lost it. I don't have a producer here. I don't even have a partner. But you know, he's sick and out of it, so it is what it is. Other than that, you guys, there's the judicial system in this country is, well, seemingly corrupt now. I mean, it's been corrupt for a while. It kind of feels like there's no winning. We've had a few victories with Daniel Penny, with Kyle Rittenhouse, but if you look at what they did to Alex Jones and how they he was guilty before really even having a trial, they just did the same thing to Mike Lindell. He was declared guilty without a trial by a Minnesota judge, bypassing the entire case, and now it's like what they did to Alex Jones set a precedent for what they're going to do to anybody who speaks out against corruption. And it's disheartening to see, because you know, when we got Trump in office, it kind of felt like there was going to be a sweeping revolution of sorts, a drastic downsizing of the government, a crackdown on like just the way that they've weaponized the justice system, things like that. And it's still possible. Maybe it's coming, but you know, the status quo of electing our leaders has gone from, I think when I was born in 1991, we were like $3 trillion in debt. When I graduated high school, we were like $8 trillion in debt. And now 15, 16 years later, we're $37 trillion in debt. The status quo it's not going to work. We need that revolution has to happen. And if we continue to cut ourselves down and our youth down for making jokes, for becoming the moralistic, right-wing people that turned me away from Christianity when I was young. Like I remember when I was a kid, I had a skateboard sweater and it had like a skull on it. And I got surrounded by my friend's parents and his family. They were all about to go to church, and they surrounded me when I was in 4th grade, and they were saying that my sweater was demonic and that I shouldn't be wearing that, and I was worshiping the devil, and I was bringing the devil into their house, and that I need to get out of their house right now. Like, it was not good. And a lot of that turned me away from Christianity for a very long time. So if we start becoming these ultra moralistic Puritans who want to constantly have the purity test, we're going to fail, because the left is they've dug in their heels. They're in lockstep. Any tactic that they can use against us, they will. That's why they're able to burn down cities and get away with it. That's why they're able to have a group like Black Lives Matter raise billions of dollars and not help a single black person, apart from the owners of Black Lives Matter who went out and bought mansions. But I didn't see them going into black communities and helping out and cleaning up neighborhoods and giving people scholarships. I didn't see any of that. But they get away with it because they as long as you go along with their narrative, as long as you're pure in their eyes, they'll have your back. And if you just repeat the words, I'm not down for that. I'm not down for that at all. I want the truth. Regardless of where it comes from, regardless of who it comes from. I'm not going to condemn someone as a Nazi because they made a couple Hitler jokes over the course of 7 months in a group chat setting. I just won't do it. And I don't think we'll ever win if we continue down that road. And if we continue trying to keep out our youth, because we're going back to the kind of woke canceling that started this all off in the first place, where they started digging people's tweets up from 20 years ago saying that, this get him fired from his job because he said some, slightly insensitive racist thing back in 2012 or 2008. Are we going to do that now? Are we going to go through the same? More of us, are conservatives literally just going to continue going down the line of being a Democrat of 10 years past or 15 years past? Because that's sure what it feels like. It feels like we're just 10 years behind the Democrats in everything. It's tiresome. And I'd rather not live that way. I'd rather be able to joke with my friends about racial stereotypes. And if it ever got leaked out, people would hopefully have the understanding that, like, okay, he said these things in a group chat setting, and but his actions are something completely different, right? Like, I've made plenty of black jokes in my life. I've made plenty of native jokes and white jokes and Asian jokes, But I got two black coworkers that I get along with just fine. The Korean coworker that I used to have, he became one of my best friends. We dog on each other all the time. It'd be raining outside. He'd be like, "Dude, stop dancing. You're causing it to rain too much." Or when I'd forget to text him back, he'd be like, "Why aren't you sending me your smoke signals then?" It's all in good fun. But now we're just... It's like a lot of the large influencers are so scared to have a controversial opinion that they'll just, it's the problem with the young Republicans group. It's like they feel compelled, they have to come out and do this because, well, it looks bad. So, we got to make a PR statement. We can't have any blotch on our record like that. So boot them out. And a lot of the big influencers are kind of doing the same thing. Because why? You'll lose money? You'll lose your monetization? So what? Eventually, you're going to want somebody to have your back. And if you show that you can have people's back when they screw up, or when they get betrayed by one of their friends, maybe somebody will stick their neck out for you. I don't care if they stop paying me on X. I mean, I would have to work more and it'd be more difficult to post and do this podcast, but what are they going to take from me? I got everything I need, and I wish more people had that mentality. Like, some people out there have fuck you money. I just have fuck you without the money. I already got my wife, I got my kids, I got my house, I got my job. And if I got fired, like, if somehow I was able to get canceled from my job, I'd be able to find another job tomorrow. Because I'm an expert in my industry, and there's a ton of tire shops that need help. So I could make just as much money, if not more, if I got fired. It wouldn't be hard. Or I could move into the construction industry, or the electrician industry, or any physical labor job where they want people to work. It's not hard. I just wish more people had that kind of mentality. And start worrying about what you do, or the content of your character, right? Your actions, as opposed to what's said, because actions will always speak louder than words. And it's time that people start embodying the values that they preach, and not worrying so much about having some racist jokes bring the entire thing down. Because with how many people I've seen split on this, it's actually blown my mind as to how many either larger creators or people have come out and said like, I will stand against neo-Nazis. It's like, dude, you're automatically like you're screwed. Just get out. Just leave. Read the room. Get the fuck out. I heard CPAC is hiring doorknobs polishers. Who cares? Boys are crude. I grew up with and I reared boys. Contrast with the vile Charlie Kirk assassination celebrations to Jay Jones. What a yawn. I'm immune. Good. Continue to have that mentality, please. Please. Because you're exactly right. And that's what I've been saying this whole time. There's no comparison. And by playing into that, you're only emboldening them to cause and call for more violence. By playing into this, oh yeah, we do have Nazis we do have, neo-Nazis that must be completely canceled because of a group text chat. No, we shouldn't be playing that game at all. Not one more inch to these stupid communists that there's been multiple assassinations in the past couple of years, and they tried to put Trump in jail. They tried to put his lawyers in jail for defending him. They tried to assassinate Trump. They will do anything. Look how they treated the J6 people, and now we know that there was like 260 feds there, undercover feds, agitators, and they locked those people up without trial for years. You really think that they won't come after you? Obama used the IRS to go after his political opponents. They will do anything and everything to crush you. They don't care if it's by the rules. So if we keep trying to play by these arbitrary rules that we believe that people follow, even though nobody does, then we will continue to lose. Charlie Kirk said it years ago. I mean, this is back in 2022, okay? Charlie Kirk shared a tweet. All right? He said the left never played by our rules. Only we play by our rules. Our rules are what keeps our side from winning. We either want to win or we lose under some delusion that the rules mean anything. The rules haven't meant anything for years. That's why we're $37 trillion in debt. That's why they continue to fund overseas wars constantly. That's why we don't have a voice. Is because we've just accepted that we must, like, they'll just use it against us. There'll be a random shooting and then they'll blame all of us. And they'll condemn the people. Because some fucking psychopath went up, shot up a school. And so they're like, no, everybody needs to get their guns taken away. No! How are we supposed to defend against this if we don't have any guns? The criminals aren't going to give up their guns. Why am I getting blamed for this shit? And it feels like the same thing with this. It's like now I'm going to get more pushback when I say anything. It's a little on the edge. I'll be called a Nazi more, and then I'll be condemned even more because it's literally just giving them ammunition. But everything isn't left versus right. We know the uniparty is there. They just hire the mouse to keep the wars going. You're right. Yeah. And that's what this entire movement should be about. I mean, I'm insanely disappointed with how slow moving Trump has been going because Trump is supposed to be an outsider. As an autistic retard, I hereby give everyone a retard and autistic pass. Thank you. I appreciate that. What guns? I lost mine in a boating accident. I still got all my guns. I'll never lose them in a boating accident. Come and get them. Prime for my cold dead hands. I'm going to keep them forever. No accidents. But I see what you're saying. I lost my boat in a gun accident. How about that? That better? All right, you guys. I don't think I'm going to go the full hour. We're 50 minutes in. Is there any other topics that you guys wanted to talk about? Because I'm getting tired of I feel like I'm repeating the same thing over and over again, and I don't want to keep going down that road. So I'm going to have to shut myself up before we keep going. Weak. Ugh. I don't know about weak. Not yet. Give it 20 years. I might be. Probably not. But yeah, I mean, There's been didn't California just declare the comet? Oh, the comet. You want to talk about the comet? Well, maybe they'll save us from maybe they'll actually save us if it is a spaceship. You guys know that what is it called, AI Atlas or whatever, that's making its way toward Earth. It's supposed to be here in like November or something. I hope it is aliens, and they just, I don't know, cause chaos or something. Make it interesting, because I don't know how we're going to stop whatever's been going on. The status quo of continuing to put us in debt, continuing to restrict our rights, continuing to just grow government endlessly. And like, I had a conversation with a guy the other day, and he was talking about how it sucks how Trump was giving out tax benefits to his buddies. I don't even know exactly what he was referencing, but just the fact that like that taxes are a good thing, when taxes don't even freaking matter because they overspend anyway. We don't have a tax problem. We have a government spending problem. We're $37 trillion in debt, not because we don't freaking rob our people enough. I mean, 33% of my paycheck is taken out every freaking week. And then an additional 10% on anything I buy in Washington State is taken out. What are we supposed to do? I'm paying 40%. At least, at a minimum of 40% of my paycheck is guaranteed to go to taxes. Minimum. That's almost all of the work I do is for the government to overspend and to sponsor abortions and transgender care and wars overseas. Every war that I don't agree with overseas, I'm helping sponsor. But no, to be a good citizen, you're supposed to pay your taxes. That's how we get the roads paved. Right? So yeah, I hope it's aliens, and I hope they come out and change shit up, because whatever road we're going down, I don't see a positive end to it. We just agreed to give 20 or 40 billion to Argentina. Of course. There's no stopping it, man. There's no stop. We get Trump in office, and they talked about a revolution. Like, this is our modern day revolution. We're going to go in and change the way that the government's been working. I bought into it, man. I really believed. I thought that Elon Musk was going to be able to go in there. I had high hopes of Doge. And then all the Republicans just kind of sat on their hands, and they're like, oh yeah, we've been doing corrupt stuff too, so we shouldn't really talk about this too much. That's how they all got their money too. They're all corrupt. And let alone the Epstein stuff. Whatever's going on with that, I guess we'll never know. Joe Biden had years to release it, and now Trump gets in, and Cash gets in, and Dan Bongino gets into the FBI, and they're like, he definitely killed himself, and we're not going to release any information. Okay. Are they waiting for the aliens? Maybe that's what they're going to do. The only thing that's going to blow up the ship, AI Atlas, is going to be the Epstein files. It's going to make it disappear. So, but we'll see, you guys. I'm going to have to change my headdress. I mean, I do still want to make America great, but you know, now that he's in power, it's open season on condemning or critiquing anything that he does. I was more open to supporting some of the nonsense when he was campaigning, but now that he's in office and all of our guys are in office, it's time to impose our will, as politically, right? It's time to actually voice our opinions, because this is the best chance that we have in order to enact any kind of change. At least in my lifetime, it's the best chance we've had. How did you know Eddie was here? That's wild. I don't know if there was a notification, but... Huh. Alright, you guys. I'll be back Monday. Maybe Friday. Actually, no. That's not true. I got stuff... I got plans all weekend. So, I will be back Monday. But go ahead and give me a follow. If you guys are watching on X, give us a follow on Rumble or YouTube. Rumble.com/PatriotsPrayer. We got our sponsors down there, Quitter and Q. Quitter is the anti-porn app because porn has been corrupting the minds of our youth. And for what's coming ahead, we're going to need strong minds, clear minds. But then, of course, Q Broadcasting is a way better streaming network than... Hey, look at that! He finally... I was trying to figure this out earlier. I couldn't figure it out. But... See, I'm terrible when it comes to computers, but I'm getting better. So... yeah, we'll see. We'll see, brother. I don't know. We got a lot coming down the line. And... yeah, Steve should be back. So, God bless you guys. We'll see you next week. Take care.
Dusty plains and broken dreams. Cowboys and Indians on the same team. We got no masters, only our creed to break the chains and set us free. Riders on the prairie, wild and free. Bows and arrows, cold 45's decree. No more tyranny, no more lies. Under open skies we rise. Fight, fight, fight till we reclaim the night. Cowboys and Indians in the blazing light. Fight, fight, fight till the dawn is near. We'll never live in fear. On the blood moon, we all unite. Horse hooves thunder in the night. No longer slaves to the empire's might. Strength in numbers, strength in